Happy Halloween. And welcome. Yes, we're spirit-led in many ways today. So if you don't mind taking your seats or standing up if you're so inclined and joining in our two opening songs. Anadance. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am. Let's do that again. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Flowing like a river of peace, I am nature's wonderful child. Love cannot be added to me. I am made complete in the divine. I am spirit-led, spirit-led, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. There's magic in every day, like a beautiful song. As I'm choosing my way, there's a voice inside to guide me along. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere. One more time. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-fed, spirit-led, everywhere and always I am spirit. Everywhere, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Woo! Nice. We may have some choreography with this next one. Boris, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
One, right?
Yep.
Oops. One, two, 1, 2.
I was working in my lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. When my monster from the slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes. They did a monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They did a monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, all were digging the sound. Igor on chains, backed by his baying hounds. The carpetbaggers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker 5. They played the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They played the monster mash. Now everything's cool. Drac's a part of the land. My monster mash is a hit of the land. For you, the living, the mash was meant too. When you get to my door, tell them Boris sent you.
1, 2, 1, 2. Then
Kitties.
Please take a seat. Well, this is one monster who's a little winded, but that's okay. So it's my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday service this day before Halloween. It's good to see all of you boys and girls. And I also want to welcome those of you who may be joining us on our YouTube channel. Thank you for being with us. We wish you could be here in person to help us do some haunting today, but we're still glad to welcome you. Let me take a moment to remind you to please silence your phones so that we could get into and get through the service without any spooky interruptions.
Yeah.
And is there anybody here for the first time? Any first-time visitors? If so, would you please? Oh, we have a gentleman there. Thank you for being with us. We are glad to have you. We are not always this weird. Sometimes we are even weirder. If you have any questions, feel free to ask anybody that's here. They probably could give you an answer. And I'm certainly available to you after the service. And with that, I want to invite Maria the Butcher to please come forward and do our daily word reading.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Maria the Butcher today. However, I have you know, I'm a vegetarian butcher. And so I will also be the prayer chaplain after church, so if anybody wishes to pray, please come join me, because we always know that all our needs can be met and all our hurts healed and every lack of abundance fully experienced. So, my word for today is prosperity. With God as my source, I live abundantly. No matter how much I have in the bank, the car I drive, or the house I live in, I know these things are mere manifestations of abundance. The source of all prosperity is God. I look beyond appearances to find a deeper meaning of prosperity. Meaningful work that I enjoy doing is part of my prosperity, not only because of what I earn, but also because of the satisfaction I feel when I use my skills. My house becomes a home when filled with people I love and care for. My financial resources don't diminish, but multiply when I share them generously. As I look beyond the good things in my life to the love, the creative insight, and the limitless flow of divine ideas that brought them into manifestation, I discover true abundance. And from Proverbs 8:18, riches and honors are with me, enduring wealth and prosperity. Well, I will say the affirmation, and then I'll say with me. With God as my source, I live abundantly. Together, with God as my source, I live abundantly.
Thank you, Maria. And I want 2 pounds of bologna. I'm going to need it for my talk today. Now, please join with me in singing, not singing, and praying our Spirit's unfolding vision prayer. Guided by divine wisdom, inspired by divine imagination, centered in divine love, and knowing that God is our source, we boldly move forth in faith as we allow Spirit's expanding vision to unfold in our lives, the life of this spiritual community, and our world. Thank you, God. Amen. And now I'm rested, so I hope you are too, and I would like to invite you to return to your feet if you are able to sing and pray the Lord's Prayer. Please take your seats. Now it's a fun time, a glorious time, a sacred time, a blessed time, a time when we bless our children. I would like our youth to please come forward along with your sponsors so that we may bless you. We are radically inclusive. We even welcome land sharks. Please join me. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you and know that you are empowered to do great things.
When I'm lying in my bed and the furniture starts creeping, I'll just laugh and say, hey, cut that out, and get back to my sleeping, 'cause I know that God is biggest and he's watching all the while. So when I get scared, I think of him, close my eyes and smile. God is bigger than the boogeyman. He's bigger than Godzilla or the monsters on TV. Oh, God is bigger than the boogeyman, and he's watching out for you and me. God is bigger than the boogeyman. He's bigger than Godzilla or the monsters on TV. Oh, God is bigger than the boogeyman, and he's watching out for you and me. Watching, watching, watching. 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 Will this song ever end? No. Watching out for you and me. All right.
The Monsters' Old Folks Home. I wrote this song years ago, and funny how as time goes by I come to resemble it more and more. If you feel like howling, if this is a day to howl for you, you'll get your chance. At the end of each chorus, you can help out the Wolfman when he howls. All right? All right, hit it. Thank you. Two. Oh. Oh, he's gray around the muzzle when the full moon rises bright. A werewolf wearing dentures is not a pretty sight. They pop off when he changes, and that's when it turns grim. He can only gum his victims, and they all laugh at him. It's the old folks' home where monsters go, and they're no longer scary. More human now, but in a full moon, Wolfman still turns hairy. Ow! Now consider that poor monster we know as Frankenstein. His stitches all are aching, and it makes him hit the wine. He talks, then talks for hours. It makes him such a bore. Talks about his operations while all the others snore. It's the old folks' home where monsters go when they're no longer scary. More human now, but in a full moon, Wolfman still turns hairy. Ow! The mummy was the first one there, the oldest of the group. His bandages are dingy and they're falling off in loops. And yet, in spite of everything, he keeps his dignity. Although at times it looks as though his body's been TP'd. It's the old folks' home where monsters go when they're no longer scary. More human now, but in a full moon, Wolfman still turns hairy. Ow! At last the dinner hour comes, and Dracula sits down. They tempt him with a hamster, but the old vampire just frowns, then musters up a smile. To the server says, "No fangs, I'll just have the blood pudding and chow down with the gang." It's the old folks' home where monsters go when they're no longer scary. More human now, but in a full moon, Wolfman still turns hairy. Ow! No, wait, I can do this. One nice big long one. Ow! I did it!
Well, thank you, music team. Just a couple of suggestions. You have to put more time and energy into this. And you have to find a way to make it fun. All of a sudden, I'm paranoid about giving a talk with people behind me.
Are you coming down?
It's okay. You don't have to. You could stay.
It's hard back here.
It's okay. So there was this photographer who just really wanted to become famous. And he had an idea. If he could just manage to get a picture of a ghost, that would put him over the top. So on Halloween, he went to a haunted house, and as luck would have it, there was a ghost there. And the ghost was really friendly and accommodating and agreed to pose for him. And he took a whole bunch of pictures. But when he downloaded them, they all came out blank. It seems that the spirit was willing, but the flesh was weak. Oh, I love when you groan. That just encourages me to get cornier every week. So tomorrow is Halloween, and our talk topic today is, do you believe in ghosts? And Halloween over the years has just taken on a larger and larger life unto itself. It is far and away the single favorite holiday of children. They love Halloween more than they love even Christmas, which finishes a distant second. But there's a spiritual note about Halloween. But before we get there, or start to go there, I should say, I have to share with you a little bit of history about Halloween. And Halloween, the origins of Halloween, really began like 2,000 years ago as part of a pagan Celtic festival called Samhain. Did I pronounce that correctly? Samhain. Thank you. Okay. It doesn't sound anything the way it spells, so it's difficult. Okay, there were several components to this festival. One was that it was the last great harvest of the year, because it occurred at this time during the year. Secondly, it was a New Year's celebration, because this marked the end of and then the beginning of a new year that would start off by embracing the cold and darkness of winter. And it's also a time in which they held and they believed that the veil that existed between the living and those that had gone on was at its thinnest, making it possible for those who have died to possibly return to the land of the living for a bit. And you may hear this and you may react and say, well, those silly pagans, what a bunch of nonsense. You know, it doesn't get any more ridiculous than that, does it? I mean, we don't even believe in ghosts, do we? Or do we? We're going to come back to that question in just a bit, but I just want to cap off the history a little bit. You know, in the 8th century, the church came along and always had a good nose for, something that had the potential to bring in money. So they adopted the holiday, and they made it a Christian holiday, and they called it All Hallows Eve, which they then followed up a day later with All Saints Day, all with the intention of honoring those that have gone before us. And I wanted to share this history with you because it really brings home a significant point for starters. And that is, just as we can grow and maintain consciousness and awareness, we can also lose it. And one of the ways that this happens to happen, and some of you could relate to this, I'm sure, is when you become so attached to the magnitude of the ritual that you actually lose sight of the spiritual dimension which gave birth to the ritual to begin with. But, hey, Halloween is fun. Halloween is cool. All kinds of fun things happen during Halloween. I mean, we get to dress up in small scale or in grand scale, as some of you have chosen to do today. Okay? We get to go trick-or-treating. We get to pass out candy. We get to eat candy. We can go to Halloween parties. We can go to haunted houses. We can just cut loose at Halloween and pretend and be absolutely anything that we want. And today, after the service, out in the parking lot, we're going to be trick-or-treat tailgating with our children, which is even more fun. And I want to make it clear, I don't have any criticism about any of this stuff. I think it is absolutely wonderful because fun is delightful. Fun warms our hearts. Fun kind of gives an affirmation and confirmation to life. Fun is part of our divine heritage. And fun is Well, it's fun. But there's something else about fun. Fun is also an opportunity. And that opportunity is if you could just form a little bit of consciousness in the midst of whatever you are doing that is fun, to offer a simple prayer of thanks for the gift of life that we all enjoy. It's an opportunity to work God back into the equation of what we're doing every day, all of the time, and all it takes is a little bit of awareness to spill out of you to create and recreate that reality. So what about this ghost thing anyway? Any believers? So I have to share a story with you that goes back to when I was a small boy, and I was in the room, but they must have thought I wasn't paying attention or anything, and my eldest sister, who was a newlywed, she was in her first year of her marriage, was telling my mother about something that was going on in their apartment. And one was that her husband, my brother-in-law, had seen an apparition a couple of times. And it was a lady in a nightgown. And on the second occasion, late at night, he was scared and he just said, "What do you want?" And the apparition went away. And then they had a circumstance in which they woke up in the middle of the night and the kitchen light was on, and they accused one another of having left it on. Got into a bit of a quibble about it, and so the next night they made sure that the light was off when they went to sleep, and then they woke up in the middle of the night and the light was on. And she was telling my mom, my sister was telling my mom, about how they really tried to get up to see what was going on, and there was a gentle yet very firm pressure that kept them lying in bed. Well, I got to tell you, I heard this and it scared the bejesus out of me, okay? It was months before I would go to sleep without a light on. I'm not talking about a night light. I had to have that overhead light on shining bright. I just could not go to sleep. There's also scientific proof, in my opinion. As I understand it, there's a law of physics, a law of thermodynamics maybe, that says that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. You think about that a minute. That means everybody who has ever been alive and has the energy of life in them, when they make their transition, that energy just doesn't dissolve. It has to come alive, has to become manifest in one way, shape, or form. So whether you believe in heaven or reincarnation or whatever, there's something about spirit that goes on. So I admit, I believe in ghosts. I believe in things like angels. I believe that this spirit that we talk about every week in this church is something that is very real, something that is very alive. I can feel that intuition deep down inside of me. Every once in a while that says a clear message to me that becoming is way more significant than being. And then I could feel that Christ light, that Christ essence deep inside of me, and I understand that is spirit that is calling out. That light wants to become manifest. That light does not want to be hidden under a bushel. That light wants to become real, not just to me, but out into the world in some way, shape, or form. There's another place where I absolutely 100% convinced that spirits dwell. And that is between our ears. Okay? So make no mistake about it. If you are living in fear, you are haunted. If you are feeling shame, you are haunted. If you are experiencing guilt in your life, you are haunted. If you are feeling small, if you are feeling less than, if you are feeling inadequate, if you are feeling that you are not worthwhile, I guarantee you it's because there's some gremlin or some ghoul or some nasty creature inside your head that is telling you that that is what you are and that this is the way it is. But there's good news. You see, there are scary ghosts and there are good ghosts. There are scary witches and there are good witches. Maria, where are you? Okay, this next line is for her, so she could take it to her prayer class, okay? Spell casting is a form of prayer. And if you don't take anything else away from this talk today, listen to this metaphysical principle because it's really true. You have a choice. You could continue to listen to those ghosts and goblins in your life, or you could tune into the spirit within you that rejects all of that nonsense, pushes it aside. And you could decide if you want to live your life being haunted or blessed. You can live your life determining for yourself if you want to be haunted by fear or by love. We all have relationships that are unavoidable in our lives. And, you know, the vast majority of them are casual, and some of them are deeper than others. But there's one thing about them all is that they all serve as kind of mirrors to us. They send messages to us, and sometimes mixed messages to us. Sometimes they validate us. Sometimes they give us an attaboy or an attagirl. Sometimes they speak to us of our worth. And sometimes they bring us down. And sometimes they tell us that we're short of what we can be, that we don't measure up, and that we have a reason to go off someplace and hide. But we have a choice, a real honest-to-goodness choice. And all we have to do is think about it, because with the power of thought, we can sort the good ghosts from the bad ghosts, and we can sort the good witches from the bad witches. And all of those negative messages that come to us, you know, that try to make monsters out of us, we can send them a very deliberate, prayerful message. I'm not listening to you anymore. I've been listening to you for God knows how many years. And I'm still feeling pain. I'm still lacking in confidence. I still don't feel free to be who I am. I still am just nervous about, you know, opening up my heart and letting that Christ light shine. And it's not working out. It's time for you to leave. Your lease is up. And I need where you've been staying within me to make room for more greater spirit in my life. You know, our 5 unity principles really are contained in the holiday message, the Halloween holiday message. You know, going back to those silly, ignorant pagans, they understood that there was a power that was beyond them, a power that was greater to them. And in the casting of that festival, they manifested a greater understanding that somehow what that greater power was somehow embedded in them. And they may not have had the sophistication to express it in words in terms of, we all share a Christ essence, but they could feel it. They could absolutely feel it. And as far as our third principle is concerned, as I said, we have the power of thought. We can choose to give that power away and let other person's thoughts dominate and tell us who we are and what we're supposed to be. But we have the power to think what we want to think. One of the most powerful messages of unity is change your life one thought at a time. And then there's the notion of prayer that we so embrace in unity. And it follows from the whole thought thing. Tomorrow on Halloween, do you understand that you could show up absolutely any way that you want? That's not limited to the costumes that you pick out. That's limited to just how much of the real you want to put forth on Halloween. And Halloween is a great time to wear masks, and it's a lot of fun, and again, I encourage it. But maybe through prayer, it's a time also for us to unmask and reveal who and what we truly are. And then there's our fifth principle, which says that these four principles really don't amount to a whole heck of a lot unless we are willing to live them. And so again, I want to return to those Celtic pagans. They were all in. They're all in a way that we don't, it's hard for us to understand, when we have the distractions of TikTok and Facebook and Instagram or whatever, and we so compartmentalize our lives. They didn't have that. They were all in. Imagine how profound it is to begin your year with an understanding that with dead of winter coming in, and the shorter days and the darkness, and all of those things that we so often dread in the cold, they earmarked that as the beginning of something new in their lives. And they had the awareness to understand that there was a bridge between themselves and spirit. They had the understanding that what happened, the energy of those lives that had gone before them were not just obliterated, that there was some connection that if they wanted to, they could still get in touch with. Of course it makes sense then that they would pinpoint, that they would dedicate a time in their life, a time in their community, when they would say that the veil that separates the living and the dead is at its thinnest now, and now is an opportunity. And you know what? We do the same thing in this church without even realizing it. Okay, the first Sunday of December, we celebrate. It's our day of remembrance, our celebration of remembrance. And we come forth at that time, and we put tags on a Charlie Brown Christmas tree to remember those that have gone before us, those that are near and dear to our hearts, those whose energy that we recognize is still with us. A silly myth? I don't think so. When I was a young boy, I keep taking you back a lot of years. When I was a young boy, a Halloween was approaching, and I had decided I was not going to get dressed up. I was now too old to get dressed up. Getting dressed up was for kids. Getting dressed up was not cool. Halloween came, and I was outside, and I was witnessing all of this buzzing about and people in costumes and all of the energy that was flowing. And you know what? I didn't feel cool. I felt empty. Because I was silly enough to listen to some ghost deep down inside of me that said, be cool. Don't get dressed up. There's an important distinction here. There's a significant difference between growing and maturing in consciousness and becoming too old. And one of the greatest monsters that we have to fear is the monster that comes along and tells us, you're too old too. I'm not too old to do anything. You're not too old to do anything. I'm not too old to do the monster mash, okay? I'm not too old to sing, to dance, and neither are any of you. If you reached a point in your life where you have come to that area in which you are thinking to yourself, I am now too old to, you've made a very bad deal for yourself. Because the moment that you adopt and embrace the notion that I am too old, that's the time in your life in which you really have become to grow old. That's the time in your life in which you start to gradually become a zombie, the undead. And that's not who you are. And the Halloween message, which explodes with imagination and rightful, important pretending, says otherwise. Perry, I'm sorry. I in no way wish to embarrass you today, okay? Perry is our 93-year-old, 93-year young congregant. 2 weeks ago, Perry took a freedom flight. Perry is a member of our board of trustees. Perry is actively engaged in the life of the spiritual community. Perry is actively engaged in life, period. Sorry, Perry, but you're an icon and a real example to what I'm trying to get across here, so I don't mean to call you out and embarrass you. I am not too old to change. You are not too old to grow. I am not too old to consider that maybe there's another way of looking at things, another way of looking at life. You are not too old to be kinder. I am not too old to be more loving, more compassionate. You are not too old to subscribe that there really is a power higher and greater than all of us. And I am not too old to embrace that divine Christ essence that's deep inside of me. And we are not too old to make a difference in your personal lives, a difference in the world. You are not too old to create. You are not too old to question. You are not too old to live. I invite you tomorrow to truly embrace Halloween. I invite you tomorrow to have fun. I invite you tomorrow to just introduce at least a speckle, a morsel of God reality into whatever it is that you are doing. And if you do that, then you will transform Halloween well beyond haunted houses and candy and anything else. You will participate in the holiday that in a way that significantly transforms tomorrow into an incredibly sacred prayer. And speaking of sacred prayer, I invite you now to join me in going there.
Trees are bare, smoky air. The final harvest is in. Shorter days, life decays. The veil is thin at Samhain, honoring our ancestors. We are never alone. Light the candles, guiding spirits home. Trees are bare, smoky air. The final harvest is in. Shorter days, life decays. The veil is thin at Samhain, honoring our ancestors. We are never alone. Light the candles, guiding spirits home. Trees are bare, smoky air. The final harvest is in. Shorter days, life decays. The veil is thin at Samhain, honoring our ancestors. We are never alone. Light the candles, guiding spirits home.
I invite you at this time just to relax. Feel the comfort of the chair, the support of the chair. With your feet firmly planted on the ground, affirm, you are now building a safe place. And I invite you to take a breath. Allow yourselves to feel the sensation of your lungs not only being filled with air, but with spirit in which we are swimming. And take another breath. Give yourself a moment. Let that reality that we are sitting and sharing a very safe place settle in a little bit more. Take another breath. Allow yourself to fall into the rhythm of spirit. Allow yourself to enter into a cadence that makes sense for you. And then together, resting in the knowing and secured in the truth that this is a safe place, we begin to build a sacred place. And building a sacred place doesn't take a hammer and it doesn't take nails. Building this sacred place unfolds. It happens as we more and more go still deeper and dare to open up our hearts. As we allow ourselves, as we dare to feel how incredibly precious each and every one of us is. As we allow ourselves to begin to understand how incredibly blessed we are, as we allow ourselves, as we go still deeper and listen more intently to that still small voice, to grow in an awareness of just how powerful we are. And we don't fight. Instead, we embrace. Truly, we are spirit-led. Truly, we are spirit-fed. And there is this incredible bond between ourselves and all that there is. And now I just invite you to dwell in this space. Continue learning by feeling in some moments of silence. And now kindly, gently as possible, as you are ready, as you are willing, I invite you to return to this space, this room,
shift your awareness back to the sanctuary in which we share. Come back knowing and reaffirming that it's really true. We are never alone. That separation from God, that separation from Spirit, that's what's really a myth. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever we are, we can let our light shine. Wherever we are, we can celebrate. And so, Spirit, we pray, first and foremost, always, always, always thank you for all that you are and all that you share with us and all that you call us to do, and all for our very being that is you. And we give thanks for the ability to come together today to assemble and be living sacraments to one another, bringing forth even greater testimony that we are not alone, that we share with one another the reality of your being and the reality of our being. And for this, loving Spirit, and so, so much more, we say thank you. And so it is. Amen. I sometimes still get confused. Now it is time for our sacrament of giving and receiving. It's time for a love offering. Thank you so much for those dollars that you contribute, that keep the lights on, that keep the heat going, and so many other things. But thank you for the gift of yourself. Thank you for recognizing that you are alive and that you have so much to contribute to this community and to the world. And so join me now in praying our affirmations. God is my instant, constant, abundant source of supply, and divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all the good that I am, I have, I give, and I receive. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all the good that we are, we have, we give, and we receive.
Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. The veil between the other world and the plane of mortal thins to welcome the ancient ones. The earth becomes their portal. Let not your heart be heavy, let not your head be light. Keep aware and quench your fears on the Samhain night. Jack-o'-lantern circle to protect you from your fears as we celebrate the harvest and the Celtic New Year. Come with me into the woods deep in a sacred grove and dance with me for life and love as the elements unfold. Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. We honor our ancestors, loved ones who have passed. We keep them in our memory with love that always lasts. Tonight they pass the bridge of swords to be with us again, through the veil of spirit world into the realms of men. By oak and ash and thorn, we build the sacred fire. We dance until the morn. The smoke, it rises higher. Study close the shadow, study close the flame. A voice from long ago may whisper your name. We dare not fall asleep till the promise of a gentle dawn. Away the spirits creep. Another Samhain come and gone, but we will not forget their loving presence here. Those who've gone before us will honor all the year. Light the sacred fire, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. So hold each other tight and walk though in a sweet dream through Old Samhain night, where things are never as they seem. Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night. Light the sacred fires, hold each other tight. Welcome now the spirits of Old Samhain night.
You guys are terrific. To share with you what's going on in our community, we have some announcements. The first is that the men's group will meet this Tuesday, November 1st at 7 p.m. Newcomers are always welcome. If you would like to join in, you may contact the church office with any questions on how to log in because the meeting is held by Zoom. Our music director, Kitty Karn, invites everyone who loves to sing or has ever wanted to improve their singing voice to come to Open Your Heart and Sing. It's a low-pressure singing session where we'll learn some lively vocal exercises, and the whole thing will culminate in a song or two. Come and open your heart and sing, and that's this coming Saturday, November 5th at noon, right here in the sanctuary. There is a suggested love offering for this of $15. If you don't have the $15, you're welcome, okay? The Board of Trustees of Unity of Fox Valley cordially invites you to attend our annual family meeting, which is right around the corner after the service on November 13th. We will be reviewing our goals and financial status and electing new officers to the board. All are welcome and encouraged to attend. However, you must be a member to vote in the election. The annual meeting will not be broadcast online. Secret Santa is around the corner. Check your bulletin for this announcement. You'll be invited to take a tag starting next week. A couple of people have asked if they could have 27 seconds at the mic to share an announcement. Maria? Laura, are you coming too?
We're in trouble if he times us. Your friendly butcher here. On a serious note, you have heard over the last few weeks that we will be beginning our grief and loss class. It is a sacred class in which participants come and learn and are able to disavow the myths that are involved with loss, and to gain an awareness and to get love and compassion from one another. So I'd like to get a few more people to join the class. If you are not feeling let's say, a sense of loss at this time, come and help support us, those who are. And Laura volunteered to say a few words. Thank you.
I did. Hi, everybody. I attended the grief support group probably about 5 years ago when I lost my father, and I was new to Unity here, and it was transformative for me in that I think coming to this group is twofold. One is I was at a place where I needed the support and did one of these, I know I probably have to go get some support after losing my father. It's something we all know we have to do when you lose somebody. We put it off because it's hard to do. The grief group that is here is unparalleled to many others that I have attended and also led over the years in my career, in that you get a sense of belonging and a sense of sacred space, safe space to be vulnerable and give of yourself to the others in the group, in which everybody was at different places because grief hits us at all times, and it doesn't have to be losing a person per se. It could be a part of you that you're grieving. And so when I did the grief group, I came out with so much more in the end, and this was a short 6 weeks, and it was constant feeling of belonging and love from the other members, some of them strangers. I was new, and I came out with so much more to give of myself, and at different levels connect to much what Reverend Mike was talking about today, in releasing some of those thoughts and those gremlins in your head, to be able to have the space. Particularly, this is a good time of year to do the group, I believe, because it's right before the holiday season, in which much can come up, right? And much can come up about our loved ones and people and things that we're grieving. So this is a great time to go within. It's a short time period, to give of yourself, but to get the best out of it, you have to be ready for that. So come and be vulnerable and be you. And it's one of these things that you'll receive more, I feel, in the end. And Clarice's book that you will use in the group is extremely well done, and she did her work. She was the last of the group. She was facilitating the group at the time, and I can tell you that is a well-done book with some reflective questions that you can take with you forever, actually. So that's my shameless plug. I endorse it for anybody and everybody, and think about it for yourself. Thanks.
Thank you, ladies, for that. A couple more things. With regard to our High Five fundraiser, a congregant has stepped forward with something kind of unique. This individual has said that she will match any contributions to the fundraiser that come in between now and next Sunday, up to $1,000, okay? So if you give $5, it becomes 10. Okay, you give 100, it becomes 200. And I thank that individual. Lastly, don't forget next week to change your clocks, okay? Because God forbid you would show up for church on time. And so with that, I invite you all to please stand and we confer upon one another our congregational blessing. Remain standing for our prayer of protection and our peace song. You may turn to the person next to you or look across the aisle, whatever you want to do. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, we behold the Christ in you and know that you are empowered to do great things. In our prayer of protection, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Wow. Thank you all so much for